and hear some. I think that is going to allow us to share best practices around how we are navigating around all these challenges that the world is facing, is throwing on us, and that we are responding with hope and enthusiasm. So very excited to drop in. And I've been dropping in the different sessions to just interact and say hello.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. See you on the other side.
Excellent.
Okay, so who wants to share with us their personal experience about how the pandemic, the virtual world has impacted their lifestyle, their own personal experience? But personally, for me, I'll tell you what impacted, what I experienced. I grew fatter, like I doubled. I went to the hospital and my doctor said to me, did you eat the whole of Canada? What happened to you? How can you be double the size when you arrived 2 years ago? Come on, slow down, girl. Okay, so I'm very happy that I've lost a few pounds. And I'm still on my weight loss process, even though many of my friends think I just look great right now, better than I used to be when I used to be very skinny. But at the same time, I do not want to be too fat, and I'm still in my weight loss process. But if you want to share your experience with us, please feel free. I see Adigun raising his hands, so you can go for it. Tell us what changed. Adigun, are you there? Adigun? Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, please share your experience with us.
Yeah, actually my experience with a virtual lifestyle is just about when what's it called? The pandemic came in, that was in 2020.
Yes.
It was a kind of a really difficult time whereby things, especially commercial activities and other things, could not be physical. So everything has to go online. So during that time, it was a good time for me though. I had to learn some new skills online. Okay. And other things online. So just to upgrade myself and to keep myself aware about some relevant tech skills. So that's my brief experience about the virtual world. So
great. It's good to know you learned something new during the pandemic. Regan wants to go.
Hey, me in this virtual helped me, like me a student, we go online, we learn online. So that's what helped me so much. So I just, you know, things are not easy. Start learning stuff. So virtual helped me.
Regan, you have to be more audible. We are finding difficulty hearing you. I don't know if it's just me, but I only heard difficulty. I don't know what you're talking about. Difficulty in what area?
No, it's like it helped me in to go online, teach, you know. Teachers online Zoom classes. So it helped me so much.
Did you enjoy it? Did you like the online classes?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you prefer the online classes going forward?
Yeah, but.
Or you like the hybrid? Sometimes online, sometimes physical?
Yeah, sometimes physical, sometimes online.
You prefer? Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for sharing your experience with us. And who wants to go next? Who wants to go next? Please.
Hello, please, can I still contribute?
Yes, you can. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, but my observation is just that, however, despite the pandemic and how the virtual world has really assisted during the pandemic time, I would still prefer sometimes, there are some things in terms of education and in terms of some business transaction. So, or in terms of seminars and conference, sometimes I do prefer physical, because sometimes some things online, everything that has advantage has its disadvantages.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, everything that has advantage has its disadvantages. So there are some people during the time of this virtual something. So some people, some customers are afraid of going online to shop, to do this, to do that, just to be out of the the hazard of scamming online. So things like that. So virtual has its own advantage, and also it has its disadvantage. But however, it's a good initiative, especially during this time of pandemic. It's a good word. So it's indeed effective to every man's life. So that's my.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. One of the disadvantage of the virtual world that many people complain about, just like Adigun said, is safety online. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're in this session. How can we be safe in a virtual world? It's the same question we asked to, how can we be safe in a physical world? And as humans, we did not do well to protect the physical world, because yet we were in the physical world. We were just going about cutting down trees, building, polluting the atmosphere, flaring gases. So it was impacting us too. Our physical health, our overall well-being. We're consuming so much waste. Now we have our oceans polluted. Some areas do not have fish. Some areas, they have to, before they can fish, they have to go like into the deepest part of the sea. There is corals all over the seabeds. The atmosphere is just polluted. You cannot breathe clean air. Not many countries can breathe clean air. That's the physical world. The other day in India, we had an issue of pollution. We don't know whether it's the firecrackers from celebration of Diwali, but everywhere in New Delhi was covered in smoke, and that's the physical world. Some people got suffocated from that. Some people died from that. So safety is something we need to put at the core of living, whether we're in the physical world or whether we're in the virtual world. But then when you're in the virtual world, there are tools you can use, to keep yourself safe all the time. And I think going forward, the ability for us to educate people about safety in the virtual world will be very paramount. There are a few tips. I personally subscribe to softwares to make sure that firewalls that will on my computer, on my, browsing the internet will, allow trolls or bots to come in. I use some software. I do not want to advertise for anyone, but there are a lot of softwares that can actually protect you from some attacks online. So safety is something that we will always need to keep at the back of our minds, whether we're in the physical world or whether we're in the virtual world. So I really appreciate Adigun's take on this. Are there other pressing challenges in the virtual world anyone wants to share with us? Hi, Marvelous. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Marvelous Makombe, and I come from Zimbabwe. but I'm currently based out of Paris. And I actually also support the SDSN Youth. I'm a project officer in the Youth Solutions Program, and happy to meet all of you guys. And thank you very much, Aforfem. I hope I say your name right.
Yes, you did.
I think you really elaborated a lot. And my only contribution in terms of the virtual world, like you said, we have to take into consideration the key in terms of safety. As a generation, we can see that it's also impacting the mental health of us, our own generation, and we're contributing it ourselves. And we have to get an understanding, what is too much in the virtual world, and, probably create limits in what we do or what we access to the virtual world, or actually what we say, on different platforms and everything. And also, as you said, Aforfem, like, you can use the different tools to use to make sure you guard yourself and stay safe, in the virtual world, because, tomorrow it doesn't only impact us today, but what we do today in the virtual world is going to be a vicious circle that will impact the next generation. And then we're creating more problems for them. We have already created, climate change problems in the physical world, and then now we'll put more problems for them in the virtual world, which will be, more disastrous for the rest of the next generations to come.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marvelous, for your take on this. You couldn't have said it any better. We do not want to overflog the issue of safety. However, I would like someone to share with us, how the virtual world has been inclusive for them. Have you experienced more inclusiveness with the virtual world, or have you experienced more separation in the virtual world? Because for many people who have conversations with me, one of the things they say is, oh no, they want to go out, they are bored because they need to physically interact with others. So do you think that in the physical world, there's more inclusivity? Pardon my English, or you think the virtual world we have more, people are more inclusive in the virtual world? Anyone wants to share their experience with me? You can go ahead.
If there's anyone else before I speak.
No, go ahead, anyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Well, for my experience, I would say that, obviously, the physical world is very inclusive because we're physical and we can, see each other. There's more exchange of emotions and everything. But then I also looked at it with circumstances like the COVID. If we didn't have the virtual world, I think I would feel very, very isolated. So the virtual world really helped me to be more inclusive, and I got to interact more with people, that that are around the world. It didn't take me to travel. We couldn't travel. So, the virtual world actually, then, that's the positive side of it when we are in situations such as, COVID pandemic crises and we can't move around.
Yeah.
The virtual world really helps.
Great. I see Winnie Mutevu. Do you mind unmuting yourself, please? Would like to see you. Talk to us, Winnie.
Hello.
Hi, Winnie.
Yeah, a bit late in the discussion,
It's
but I was
okay.
able to a bit more looking into the safety aspect.
Okay.
But I would say, for me, I would say it's been more inclusive. Most of the time, there are some spaces you could not engage because of the cost that comes with you being physically present.
Okay.
But now you be in several spaces at the same day and being able to have really important and critical discussions. However, I would also say for individuals who don't have access to technology, then there's more isolation and separation as well. So beyond looking at my engagement, there are a number of stakeholders who don't have the same access that we have to internet and smartphones and the likes. And so just looking into overall, how do we include them into the discussions? We need to be able to question and look into how that can be addressed overall.
Great, that was brilliant, Winnie. Do you mind introducing yourself?
My name is Winnie, working for an NGO that focuses on concerning human trafficking in East Africa. So I'm joining from Kenya, being part of the Youth Symposiums, I think from the beginning in 2014. And the last one that I was physically present would be back in 2018. And the rest now joining virtually, which has been great and interesting as well.
Thank you so much, Winnie. And that was a brilliant take by Winnie, because in the virtual world, we still have people that are left behind. But now let's take into context the physical world. Were there people left behind? Yes. In the physical world, we had a lot of people left behind, because despite the fact that other nations were moving forward and progressing in technology and in advancement of the virtual world, some nations were just redundant. So in this new age and time, I think for us to make sure that no one is left behind is the goal now. Because if we go back to the physical world, we're still going to experience some people not wanting, to move or to develop. And there are a lot of factors around that. I do not want to monopolize those factors, so I would appreciate if Dritiman shares some of the factors you think that inhibits progress, whether it's the physical world or the virtual world. But I personally want to believe it's the same factors that inhibit progress in the physical world that's actually inhibiting progress in our virtual world. So do you mind sharing some factors you think that inhibits progress?
I feel access to information and use of critical tools. Let's say in the digital world or the physical world, there is a growing digital gender divide, for example. More women in developing countries, with more and more things becoming digitalized, we have women suffer that more because their knowledge of digital skills is not at par as compared to men. And even that can be extrapolated in terms of age-related factors like senior citizens. A lot of things are becoming digital, let's say in India, and let's say my parents, they can't even do normal bank transfers online, and they can't go outside to the local bank because of the COVID pandemic. So these things are serious issues for them, even to buy groceries or stuff like that. I think I would end with that. Maybe we can hear from someone else as well.
All right, thank you so much, Dritiman. Mohammed, it's nice to see you.
Yeah.
Please, do you mind introducing yourself? We'd like to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. I have just joined. I couldn't join from the beginning of the day because of other commitments. So yeah, my name is Mohammed. I'm from Egypt. I'm a co-founder and head of partnerships of a social enterprise called Hopsilides Egypt. We work and focus our work on SDG number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. And we try to equip young people with the right skills to fit the market needs as well as launch their social entrepreneurship ideas.
Right. So do you mind sharing with us what you think are the inhibitors of us progressing in our world, whether it be virtual or physical?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you mind sharing with us the factors that are slowing down progress? Just before you arrived, Winnie mentioned that it's not just about the fact that the virtual world is more inclusive, but the lack of accessibility for people in remote places who don't have an internet is one of the major challenges with moving completely into a virtual world. But while we do not want to move completely into a virtual world, which is not realistic, but we know the virtual world helps all of us be more effective and efficient when we work. But despite that, I am saying that even in the physical world, we had people that were left behind. In the physical world, we have countries that were really poor, countries that they lack progress. So there is something that inhibits progress, and they are called factors. So what do you think are some of the factors that slowing down progress of people in places and regions where they are? You know, when we are moving, they are not moving. It's like they keep drawing us back. Yes. So what are those factors you think?
Yeah. First off, I agree with what you have mentioned. We really struggle about this. And I believe COVID-19 has lots of difficult situations or bad sides for all of us, but it helped in changing the mindset of many CEOs or managers to make the culture of virtual work or working from home very possible. But still, the struggle can be the mindset, the old mindset at some companies that, or maybe governmental organizations that can't, absorb that such culture. Also, as my colleague mentioned, like a few minutes ago, he focused on the need for access for digital world. Even some people don't have access for laptop or computer or a good internet. That's mainly the main point, especially when you talk about Africa. I know there may be other detailed points or factors, but maybe someone else could say it better.
All right. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Does anyone want to say something that has not been said by anyone concerning the factors that are slowing down progress for us in the virtual world?
I would add, this is Winnie.
Oh, Winnie, thank you.
Harmful cultural practices that are still ongoing in some communities. I'll also talk about corruption, where we know we are able to get different grants, support development in different countries, but then that most of the time ending up in people's pockets, not actually doing that it should be doing. But then I think also looking at the literacy levels, who is getting the education and why we have limitations in some parts of the world as well. But I would say also there's a bit of, we call it intentional or not intentional, a bit of ignorance that is, some people thrive when that happens. When young people don't have access to information, they don't know what they're supposed to be doing, then you are able to thrive in their ignorance and lack of information. I think it has been shared earlier. So that would be my additional point.
So much, Winnie. And Winnie has highlighted something very important, which is the foundation of today's symposium, and that is education for all of us. Literacy levels, true, varies per country, and literacy level in some areas are lacking. While it varies per country, like you can compare the quality of education right here in Canada, where I reside currently, to the level of education in my country where I'm coming from, Nigeria, even though there are some select schools that, make sure that it's same standard as it is here. But yet there are still places where there is complete lack of education. So moving forward, how do we bring these people on board? Moving forward, how do we get people more educated? We've tried so many strategies at the international level, the NGO level, and of course, there's still work ongoing. But how do we reach these people who can't be reached? Maybe due to someone trying to inhibit their progress, like Winnie said, corruption, You don't want them to have it because you want it all for yourself as a government, as the head or leader of a community. How do we begin to make sure, what do you think can be done? What do you think we've done that is not working and we need to redirect the action? Who wants to go? Mohammed, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I believe such literacy about educating people should come from the top of the pyramid, which is the government. Like when we talk about climate change, so everyone is competing to show that they are taking actions from a governmental level, and that's good. That competition is making an effect. And for example, Egypt was far behind this until a few years ago. We started going on the track, and you will see the COP27 coming to Egypt next year, and that's a great achievement compared to the 20 years administrative style. So educating people should, in Egypt, I can say media has a really big effect. I personally, as a young person, I face a challenge when I say to someone that I work virtually. Sometimes they think like you are playing on your laptop. No, I'm not playing. I'm a software engineer, so I can work from home, and many others around me can work from home. Even my family can't accept it that much, but by the time I try myself to step by step to get them convinced about the idea of culture or virtual work. And I think it starts with us as persons, and also a big action from the government.
All right, thank you so much, Mohammed. And I'm a very practical person. So most times when I want to solve a problem, I like to break it down to the minutest, levels. Because take, for example, someone tells me it's religion that is a problem in my country, because that's what most people always say. But then how do we really solve the problem? If it's religion, how do we solve that problem? So it means we need an antidote to probably counter religion, where people can divert their attention away from religion into something. So I would like some other person to share with me what they think we can do to solve the problem around inclusivity in education, and literacy program around people understanding the use of the Internet of Things and the virtual world generally. Marvelous. Thank you.
Marvelous. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, I personally think that as much as, the civil society, it might have tried, to create a bridge in terms of ensuring that no one is left behind. But I think they are the most important part, of the whole international system, to, like what Winnie said, to expose things like corruption, whereby, funds are probably donated from outside the country, and then the government then it doesn't get to the rural areas or the people that are most vulnerable that need to get educated. Then the civil society has to take action to ensure that they use the virtual world to expose. Once governments mostly are exposed, they become under pressure to ensure that they give some results. They may not be adequate, they may not be as efficient as expected, but they will try to do something to clear up their reputation. But also I think I take the experience of where I come from, my family. For my mom, she didn't get educated because of the family. Her parents passed away when she was very young. Those are some situations where people don't take into consideration, and then they're being taken care of by other relatives who don't allow them to actually get education. So, there is need for government as well as the state to ensure that, some children, that minors that are under the protection or guardian of other relatives, that are orphans mainly, they get access to education, especially probably free education, because they, the families may say, okay, we do not have the funds to, to get them educated, but the governments have to play a very big role, to implement new policies to ensure that no one is left behind. But then I think civil society has to play a major role to pressure the governments mainly, especially when corruption is involved. We can't hear you, Aforfem. We can't hear you, Aforfem.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much, everyone. We've taken into note all your inputs and considerations, and the way we can move forward. And I really appreciate that. This session is recorded, so you're rest assured that it's going to be directed to the right source, the foundational source of the SDSN Youth, and we'll begin to work in it. And thank you so much. For those of you who are not the member yet of SDSN Youth, please feel free to join us fully, be a full member, give your time. It could be 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, however you want to volunteer with us. And I'm going to see you on the other side. I've taken a picture already. I don't know if there's anybody who wants to be a part of the picture and your camera is not on, because I've taken a picture, and because I've been asked to take a picture so that it can be used on our media platforms. So if that's it, then guys, I'm going to see you on the other side. Enjoy the rest of your day. I know it's afternoon, it's evening in Nigeria, if I'm not correct. If I'm not mistaken, in India it should be like 11 p.m. Did you remember?
No, it's 9:40.
9:40. Okay, you're almost going to bed.
Okay, you're almost going to bed.
And Mohammed, where are you?
Mohammed, where are you?
I'm in Egypt. Like it's like 6:10.
It's like 6:10.
6:10. Beautiful. So this is the beauty of the virtual world. I'm in different time zones right now. And it's just 11:08 a.m. here in Canada. In Canada, there are different time zones. So I'm in the east of Canada.
So I'm in the east of
So it's the Eastern time.
In Nigeria, it's 5:09 now.
What's the time?
What's the time?
9:05.
9.
9.
Sorry, 9:05. Sorry.
5:09. Okay.
5:05.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a little after the afternoon. And in Uganda, by Kenyans, what's the time?
9 minutes past 7 p.m.
9 minutes past 7. Wow. So that's the beauty of the virtual world, interacting with people in different time zones. And it's beautiful to see. It was hard before, you have to buy the phone, the phone cards to call people. Maybe you have a friend in India. I used to have a friend when I was in secondary school. She was Indian. So I'll have to buy a card to call her, and I'll just speak to her for like 2 minutes. But now we can do the Zoom calls and, interact with one another and see each other and talk to each other. And that's the beauty wherever you are in the world. I hope to see you at the next session. Please do not miss tomorrow, because you know what's going to happen tomorrow? I'm not going to tell you. It's a secret, but for those people who know, they know. So you don't want to miss tomorrow's session. It's going to be beautiful, and we'll be wrapping the Vatican Youth Symposium 2021 by tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
you.